Hey, Birkett here, along with Carlos Monarrez for week two prediction. Carlos, the Lions coming off a tough one. I know we talked about that earlier this week with our friend Sean Windsor. Uh, look, before we move on to Green Bay, let's put this Bears game to bed. I know it's tough not being in the locker room. We don't necessarily get the sense like we usually do in terms of maybe how the team is ready to rebound, respond. But I'll tell you what, from listening to DeAndre Swift on the conference call Thursday, like that guy just seemed like he was oozing confidence, brushing off the drop as you would expect. But I don't know. I from the vibe from guys on the conference calls this week, it didn't seem like that loss was hanging over them too much.
Yeah, you know what, and you expect it from someone like Jamie Collins, who had a big mistake, obviously, with the headbutt spear, whatever it was, and he even seemed to be playing it off like it's such a weird thing, like I didn't mean to do it. Didn't even know. He said he didn't even know he touched the ref, really. But with Swift, really, as a rookie, you're welcome to the NFL game and the highs and the lows, from scoring a touchdown to being the GOAT, in a bad way. So yeah, it was, I think that one thing that I think that Matt Patricia does well is he bangs the drum on his messages, whatever it is about, we're going to be a tough team. We're going to, practice and perform, and we're not going to let, whatever his message is, he's pretty good about delivering it, putting it in their heads. And I think that was a whole team effort to tell Swift, like, you can't let this get on you. And they do seem to have moved on from that game. And I think my sense from the players is they know they won that game. Like, if a rookie comes through just a tiny bit more, they win that game. So it wasn't like they got their teeth kicked in. They were bungling everywhere, and they got unlucky with the injuries, with the drop, but otherwise it was a pretty good game for them.
They should have won it. I think everyone agrees on that. Matt LaFleur even said as much. And, I think like a lot of coaches, when things go wrong, right, when you lose a game, you have to build your team's confidence back up. Matt does that. When you win games, that's when you have to say, hey, you're not quite as good as you think you are. And I think Matt does that as well. And so this is a situation where going into Green Bay, it's going to seem like the world is against them, because I imagine most people that follow this league are picking the Packers to win this game. Aaron Rodgers coming off a spectacular performance. The Lions, as you just alluded to, very shorthanded on the defensive side of the ball right now. We don't know exactly who's going to be there, but we do know Justin Coleman is out and Desmond Trufant did not practice Wednesday and Thursday. So this is, look, maybe the mystique of Lambeau isn't there anymore. No fans there, and the Lions have had some success there in recent seasons, but this is still going to be I really look at this stretch coming up. Packers, Cardinals, Saints, like they need to win one, maybe two of these games just to get some confidence, to keep their head above water heading into the bye week.
They need to win at least one game, I think. I don't know if it's going to be this one. But
0-4 would be impossible. They got it, but 0-2 in the NFC North, that's a pretty steep hold as well. That's a pretty big hole to climb onto too.
Yeah, and that was the unfortunate thing about the Chicago game. I think a lot of us picked them to win the Chicago game. It was at home. They had everything going for them in that game, and it sure looked like they were going to win it. And they came darn close. So that's a loss that's going to haunt them. That they know they should have had that one. Packers, I don't know if anybody really would have picked them, to beat the Packers in Green Bay, and the Packers are pretty healthy. So, I don't think this one, in a way you might look at it as maybe the pressure's off. Nobody's picking them to win. They have some injuries, not that they're looking for excuses, but, sometimes that helps you play a little freer of, listen, we got to go out there. We got to leave it out there. We got to take some chances, be aggressive, and that may work out for them.
I don't know if this is the week for that. You're right, though. Go back 2018, Patriots come into town, the Lions are, they're struggling, and all of a sudden they kick, Tom Brady's teeth in, really. And then last year.
No Julian Edelman, though, in that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Trey Flowers was out of that game, too. They were shorthanded. But, it was still a game where people looked at what was happening with the Lions, and right. You said, you're not going to beat the Patriots. And they went ahead and did it. And last year, not the exact same thing, because, even though they had that tie to start, they beat the Chargers in week 2. But the Chiefs game, another game that no one picked him to win, right? And a game that, in all honesty, they should have won again. You know, they squandered that lead there, and if not for that crazy play at the goal line, you know, who knows what happens. So I think that's a valid point by you for the first time in a long time that, you know, maybe, you know, these guys play, you know, when the pressure's off, you know, they tend to show up. But look, like I said, maybe that's, to me, I look at like the Saints game. Like that's one I think, you know, my season predictions, you know, I actually gave them the Saints game under that logic. Like, hey, no one's going to pick them to beat the best team in the NFC, but maybe they're just, you know, sly enough to do it. So I don't know. We'll have to wait on that one for a couple weeks. But Packers this week. Let's talk about the game a little bit. We'll get into our predictions here in a second. I don't know if you happen to watch any of the you know, the replay of that Packers game, but man, I was one who, not that I wrote Aaron Rodgers off, but I thought maybe he wasn't the same Aaron Rodgers that he was a couple years ago. He looked like the old Aaron Rodgers the other night.
Yeah, I did not see too much of the game, just a few highlights here and there, but was it 43 points, 4 touchdowns? And I guess the trick to Aaron Rodgers is just, you know, move up in the draft to draft a quarterback and piss him off or something, and it makes him go. I mean, that guy runs on revenge, you know. So I think you're going to have an MVP caliber season from him. And like, yeah, try to trade me now, Packers. See what happens. And that's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. I think it's just with him, it's just been injuries. You know, when he's banged up, he's not as good, or he misses some games or whatever it is. But when he's been healthy, and as much as you're saying the Packers, and they do want to be more of a run team, you know, when Aaron Rodgers is rolling, man, you stick with him. That guy's going to just pick you apart as long as he's healthy. So, you know, and I think that, you know, the Lions have beaten them in Lambeau. They've gotten rid of that. In fact, I remember when they had that big streak finally snapped. I don't know if you remember the conference call we had with Aaron Rodgers, but he kind of made a little joke about it, as saying that, you know, well, sometimes it just goes your way, and, you know, it's just happened to go our way 28 times, but you know, everybody got a good laugh out of that, and then they win and beat the Packers in Lambeau. So, you know, anything can happen. I think that, like you said, without the fans there, without the fans, you know, mooning the bus on the way in, without, you know, the Lambeau mystique, you know, is not quite going to be the same. So I think that I don't know that the Lions are, the injuries in the secondary definitely don't help, but otherwise, I don't know. I don't count them out.
No, look, those injuries are, I mean, the Packers have suffered from not just when Rodgers has not been healthy, but they've had a lack of depth at the skill positions for a long time now. You know, I don't think they've done a good job surrounding, you know, a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback with, you know, some really dangerous weapons. I mean, Devontae Adams, and then who else? Let's give MVS credit. Marquise Valdez-Scantling, you know, he had a nice game the other day. But historically, you know, the Packers have not done that. And, you know, if MVS, if Alan Lazard, whoever it is, if they have a reliable number 2 receiver, then all of a sudden this team does become pretty scary again on offense, because as you mentioned, they're running the ball, you know, pretty effectively, sort of like the Lions are mixing in a couple backs. Aaron Jones, obviously the top back, but, you know, they got a gadget back that they use a little bit. You know, they drafted a rookie in the 2nd round, Dylan, out of Boston College. So, you know, maybe they're starting to get some of the pieces there that Matt LaFleur wants in his offense. And, you know, the fact that the Lions are going to be without Justin Coleman, the fact that we don't know what Trufant's status is, but, you know, not practicing 2 days, even if he's out on the field, you have to worry about that hamstring. And then Jeff Okudah, he's going to make his NFL debut, maybe starting against arguably the best, you know, quarterback of the last 10 years in the NFL. So not an easy task. And, you know, I guess spoiler alert, I'll give you the score later, but I won't be picking the Lions to win this one. I learned my lesson last week. I don't know about you.
What lesson? What lesson did you learn last week?
You know, I mean, it was one of those things where I thought, even though they had the Kenny Golladay injury, and you know, I said this Monday, like I still think this offense is going to be really good, but they need Kenny Golladay. Like as much as we talked about the depth of the Lions receiving core heading into the season, that depth only matters if Kenny Golladay is there, because Golladay is the difference maker at that position. The other guys are mostly interchangeable, but Golladay is a real difference maker. And when he's not there, you can look around and you say Marv and Amendola and, you know, Jamal Agnew and Cephas, whoever's out there, right? It's just not the same. You need that big body physical, dominating presence of Kenny Galladay. And Galladay is another guy that's, once again, questionable to doubtful to play because he hasn't practiced this week.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and the Lions had one Pro Bowler last year, and it was Kenny Galladay, and that's who they're missing. And he's the key to really having that offense be explosive. However, T.J. Hawkinson played pretty well. They got.
Carlos wrote about him. Check it out, freak.com.
They got enough out of TJ, and Adrian Peterson was a revelation.
Yeah.
And Karen Johnson, as you wrote, freak.com, did a nice job in the blocking scheme for them. Swift had the most touches and actually should have caught the game winning. Just imagine that. DeAndre, think about, I know you don't like to play this game, but DeAndre Swift holds onto the ball for another 0.7 seconds, catches and he has 2 touchdowns. He's the hero. We can't stop writing about him. You and Pete Schrager are talking about Matthew Stafford MVP already.
I should always come back to me and Pete. I'm going to get Pete on one of these calls with us. All right. I'm going to have
we got to get him on here. Yeah. We got to get Nate on here too. And I don't know about Orlovsky. I don't know if I can handle that, but yeah, that would be great. And so, really it comes down to less than a half a second of possession by a rookie, and this whole thing changes. It still wouldn't have been great that the defense kind of collapsed in the fourth quarter, but you were also without, Coleman and Trufant. So, it makes sense. But I'll tell you what, Dave, you said you learned your lesson. I mean, I'm looking in the fourth quarter, at one point it was 23-20 or something, Lions. And I'm like, wow, Dave and I are going to be down. I think we picked 24-20. We both picked the same score. Like, wow, we're going to be really, really smart this week. And it didn't work out, but I still would have picked them again. Obviously, the Jamie Collins thing is weird. All these little weird things that, Prater misses the 55-yarder goes off the goalpost, these, yes, Lions things, but like little things that just little, death by 1,000 cuts,
That's what the Lions do, though. That is the Lions. That's
I know.
The Lions. All right, so let's wrap this up here. So what are you doing this week then? Are you taking the Lions to upset in Lambeau Field?
You know what? My gut says yes.
Oh,
my brain says no. I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it. I don't see the Packers putting up 43 again. I mean, that's a lot.
Saying yes, by the way.
Yeah. So I will say that they put up a good showing, but they lose. But it's something respectable. They lose, let's say, 30-24, somewhere around there.
Carlos, you got to get out of my head with some of these scores.
No.
I'm not. So last week we did pick the same score, but the score I actually ended up going with in the paper was a little bit different. And when I went back and looked at what I had predicted before we shot our video, I actually didn't have 24-20. So I don't know. Maybe something just popped into my head there when you said it. But this one, it's already written. It'll probably be up on freak.com tomorrow. My scouting report prediction: 31-24 Green Bay Packers. Look, I think it's something that. The Packers, you're right. Last year they did not score points like this all the time, and I don't expect them to continue. But it's a pretty good Vikings defense that they put some points up on, and that was at Minnesota again, minus the home field. But still, you're going on the road. You're dealing with all of that stuff, and the way Aaron Rodgers looked, the injuries that the Lions have. I mean, those are some key injuries. Cornerback to play against this offense, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers in particular, and then Kenny Galladay still. Matt Patricia said on Thursday that, it's one of those things where you don't want to push it. You don't want it to become a 4-week thing, a month-long thing. And that's the right approach. Believe me, that's 100% the right approach in a 16-game season, but that doesn't help you at all when you're playing 2 division teams off the bat. And I still have confidence in this Lions offense because Adrian Peterson, Hawkinson, as you mentioned, because I think Stafford in this passing game will be fine when Galladay gets back. But I can't pick them to go into Green Bay and win. I think this is a Packers win all the way. Like I said, 31-24 is the score I'm going with.
And I think you mentioned this last week was it does make a difference when going into the week, you're not going to have certain guys. You're not going to have Trufant maybe and Coleman definitely. So knowing that, getting Okuda ready, whatever it might be, whoever's going to be in there, Darryl Rogers, whoever, or Darryl Roberts.
The old coach, the old ball coach.
I don't know. Can he suit up? So yeah, I think that helps a little bit to know what you have going in, as opposed to making the change during the game. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Now, before we go, Dave, I want you to tell the people why special teams coordinator Braden Coombs is now your favorite coach. Because you and he have a certain bond now that will never be broken.
Yeah, no, he was saying the other day in his Tuesday on his September 15th on his his Zoom for the week. He started off by wishing his son a happy birthday, and it happened to be the same day as my son's birthday. I think it was his son's 3rd birthday, my son's 6th. So, got a little connection there. So, that was kind of funny. Got to mention Jack on the conference call, though he had no idea and probably never will. Maybe he'll watch this. He'll find out.
What did Jack get for his birthday?
Oh man, Jack's a baseball nut right now. So he got baseball, a little bit of baseball, everything. All right. So here's the deal. He's like I said, baseball nut, right? Played baseball this year. Like he wants to be Mike Trout. Like he just I don't think it was his grandma got him, like the elbow guard, so he can like get out there because he just, whenever he sees on TV, right, he wants to pretend to be him. He'll use these fake shields on him. So he's got a real elbow guard now. He got a Mike Trout jersey, right? So now he can be Mike Trout when he's out there, playing around. So he got some baseball, I don't even know, another baseball, like, game that he can play. Like it's not a board game, but it's, something similar. So pinball sort of game. So it's just baseball stuff, a whole lot of that stuff. So we'll just wait. Next year he'll be off the baseball kick, and I'm sure he'll be on. In fact, right now he's out watching a football game on TV, and he said, my favorite sport to play with my friends is football. So it changes by the season with that young man.
Well, unfortunately, Jack is rooting for the wrong Los Angeles team. It should be the Dodgers. So if I send him some Burner swag, maybe he'll wear it. And you promised me if I get him some kind of Cal State Fullerton baseball shirt, he will wear it on camera, right?
He said he would wear it. I told him he can't. I told him the only Titans he can support are the Detroit Mercy Titans. So, I mean, you can get him one, but I'm going to have to take it off him and just not let him wear that. It's not going to be allowed in this household right here. Michigan State Spartans. That's the only school.
Will he wear it one time? Will he wear it one time on Zoom if I send it to him?
He'll probably wear it a bunch of times, truthfully. And if it's a baseball one, he'll wear it all the time. That's all he wears. Tiger shirt. He played, baseball, coach pitch at Legacy, so his Legacy shirt, whatever. He's just whatever. That's all he wants to do. So, like I said, it changes by the season.
We won't go into it. It's a long story, but Dave Birkett always wanted to attend Pepperdine University in Malibu, California. It's a long story. And I went on their bookstore to see if they had Pepperdine baseball. Unfortunately, they don't have a single thing that says Pepperdine baseball or Waves baseball. Yeah. So, which tells you about their program. Even though they beat Cal State Fullerton in the World Series final in '93, they stole it from us. But
wow.
Yeah, we're not bitter still, but let's play at the plate. But Fullerton has plenty of baseball stuff. So for Jack Birkett, future Cal State Fullerton Titan star.
Yeah.
Hopefully future Los Angeles Dodgers star after that.
Hey, we'll see if he like I said, he's out there watching the game right now. So he, I don't know, he's probably flipping back and forth between baseball and football because that's all that kid wants to do. Baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, whatever he stumbles across, that's what it is. So all right, that'll do it for us here. We'll let everyone sign off, but again, Lions, Packers, Sunday, Lambeau Field, and even in this Corona world, we'll be out there bringing everything from Lambeau Field. So that'll do it for us here for tonight. For Carlos Monarrez, I'm Dave Birkett, Fruit.com.